Everyone, another week closer to, you've guessed it, Christmas. Christmas. Oh, well, we got Tiger's Hero Challenge coming up soon. We must have.
Must have.
Yeah.
It's getting to silly season, isn't it?
Yeah, PNC as well. PNC.
Yep. That's a fun event.
Yeah, they're all good events. They're all good events. Charlie, another solid week at the weekend.
Yeah.
Out in the Florida.
Yep.
All gets a bit. Can be funny time of year in Florida, can't it? Can be. You could have to have bobble hats and all sorts, or be out in your sunscreen and all sorts.
It's funny when they need the bobble hats, they don't know what to do with themselves over there.
No,
when the trade shows there was frost, I don't think any of them have ever seen it before.
Well, it's nice to have you with us. As usual, we are taking all of your questions on the iPad. James on the discs. What's been happening in the studio? A sort of fantastic video that you did with the 2025 top-selling irons.
Oh, was that the one with the studio upstairs? Yeah. So that one was kind of released the second half. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
really good.
Yeah,
really
we're trying some different setups, and the feedback on the kind of the studio setup was good. Yeah, it's fun filming in different areas.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's crack on into the questions because we normally run out of time with the questions, so we need to get into them as quickly as possible. And we'll start off with Morvis 6191. I hit a fairway wood recently.
Could be the start of a limerick, that, couldn't it?
with a 65 gram shaft and hit it better than my previous 75 gram fairway wood. Would it make sense to give a 55 gram driver shaft a go for the progression of weight have been in a 60 gram driver and a 75 gram utility wood?
Okay, yeah, so in principle, yeah, I think as a broad generalisation, if a 65 grams working well in the fairway, certainly the 75 in the utility would make sense. Sort of hybrids, that's sort of 75 to 80 gram. But driver, yeah, kind of sub 60 would tend to make sense as the length progression goes. You start to swing them a little bit more aggressively. It's not quite 10 grams, kind of as a kind of something we try and stick to, but ultimately that as a base point, 55, 65, 75 makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
The Virtuoso Blacker, good handle. Hi guys, been told to put pressure on the back foot in the backswing with irons and woods. Are the wedges the same? Some say keep pressure on the lead foot. Is that on the whole swing? Big question you've asked there. Try and round up the whole swing. But look, think about pressure through your feet as hot potato. You want to think of it as moving around. It never stays in one position for any more than a moment in time. So if you're moving it in one direction, it needs to move back in another. Now, foot pressure ultimately will control your low point. So as you make back swings, how you use that pressure, yeah, perfect. How you use that pressure, as you move into your backswing, the more you move pressure into your right leg, if you allow your right leg to flex as you do that, what will tend to happen is it will start to reduce the amount of hip rotation. If moving pressure into your right leg makes it rebound and makes you push back in the opposite direction, which lengthens your right leg, that's a good thing. Now, in terms of what you're trying to do with wedges over irons, over woods, really the way we move is exactly the same for all golf clubs. But where we make that low point hang out will change a little bit, but a lot of that is determined by your ball position and what you're feeling the golf club do, because feeling the golf club swing more with driver because the ball is further forwards is going to be a different feel to hitting that low trappy wedge that's more struck back in your stance. So it's very difficult to say that you just want to do this for that club, because it's evolution. The ball is moving further forwards, the club is getting longer, the loft is increasing and decreasing. So really to say what do I do for wedges is kind of difficult, but ultimately think about pressure through your feet as rebounding. So if you push the weight into your right foot, as you feel it hit into your right foot, you want to push it back in the opposite direction. And then as you come back down, it starts loading into your left foot. That needs to push back in the opposite direction as well. But if you go check out leg action on my Good Golf Coaching channel, you'll be able to find out all about that, and hope that helps a little bit for you. Let's move on to Simon Caulfield. Hi, Simon. I think he was in the studio a couple of days ago, was he not? think I saw it. Yeah, I did see
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
pop
absolutely.
close.
Hi guys.
That's been stuck in a lot of traffic recently.
Yeah, it's everywhere in the UK right now. Great show, Simon. Could you suggest some similar shafts to the Fujikura Vista Pro 70S?
Okay, so Vista Pro 70, really good actually, kind of relative to cost. A lot of shaft for the money. Sort of Fuji's entry level, it's sort of mid-launch, mid-spin profile, kind of it's relatively responsive tip, but swings fairly kind of mid to bottom end. So you could look at something like Oban the Asawa Red in a 75, might be slightly heavier. I would say VA Composite Slash 75, that's another one, again, might swing just a fraction heavier, but similar kind of principle in terms of responsive tip. And let's go one more. Where do I want to go this one? Probably, I mean, if you're going kind of higher grade, you might go into something like a Ventus Red, would be a similar kind of profile in terms of going into higher grade materials.
Very good. Ian Linfoot 2563. If Simon was a ping engineer, I didn't know where it was going with that. If Simon was a ping engineer in charge of the I-540 irons, what technology would he prioritise? E.g., would it be driving iron internals, pre-worn leading edge, V-sole, etc.? Thank you.
What would I prioritise? Well, actually, out of something like the 5, so taking the 530 and what that's been doing, and what would I want to see it change to? Actually, something that retains a bit more spin. I think it's such a powerful club where you've got the 730, and there's going to be another one kind of coming at some point sit above it. Your G440s, you've got your kind of forgiving distance iron. I'd actually like to see the 540 have just a little bit more subtlety to it. I think it's been really good for ball speed, but it's been a bit of a bomber. So actually, I would like to see them raise the centre of gravity up a little bit, which technically makes it slightly less forgiving, but actually that I-series iron, I'd kind of like to see, look, they're never going to lose ball speed with it, and I think there's so much tech and so much performance from it. Actually, just kind of reining it back a little bit, giving it a bit more spin, rather than just sticking all the weight down on the bottom of it. That I would personally rather see that, because I think that balances off the range a little bit better.
Jeremy,
but pre-worn leading edge, always useful.
Very good. Any more?
Yeah, you're right.
Jeremy says, what would you consider for a driver shaft, 5X or 6S for 105 miles an hour club head speed?
Whichever one swings better. You've got a 5X is going to be normally at or just under 60 grams, and a 6S you're going to be 5 or 6 grams heavier, about 10% heavier in terms of dead weight. But actually, the dead weight difference and how you and the club sync up will make much more difference than the difference in stiffness from a performance point of view. But yeah, how you time them will determine whether you hit one straighter or not than the other, not the flex.
I think it's quite a poignant question, isn't it? That people still see swing speed and swing club shaft flex as relatable, right? When it's weight, right, rather than flex.
Predominantly, yeah. I mean, the flex. So what you're going to find with flex is that for a lot of players who've played a long time and have some speed, they're used to a stiffer feeling shaft because it's what we were all put in years back. And so that firmer feel will give confidence, and therefore might feel more comfortable and let you kind of commit through the shot a little bit more. Whereas in reality, it doesn't do anything. It's more how the player reacts to it, and a more moderate speed or tempo sometimes finds that stiffer feel, makes them kind of throw their shoulder out and feel like they've got to force the result. So actually the softer flex helps them time it better, but it's more how the player's reacting to the sensation of movement or rigidity, not that rigidity dramatically affecting ball flight.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. My director has just said that I missed out Grelis 33. Of course, it was on purpose, Grelis 33, to keep you watching. Hope you're both well. We are. And we hope you are too. I was wondering if there was a best time of the year to get fitted. I had March-ish time in mind.
That is a great question. March-ish time means that all the new products are out, and actually gives us a little bit of time, a month or so, with them to start to see what's doing what with different players and swings in the bay. Actually, and this is the thing, a lot of people want to get fitted, understandably, early part of the season. The products are just launched, it's exciting, there's all this new stuff around. But the more time goes on through the year, the better we understand them. So actually leaving it a bit of time means that the fitters know the product better and will be more able to direct you into a product that we know performs well with certain patterns or strike patterns or swing lines. So the later you can leave it, bearing in mind that there's normally kind of around a 4-week build time after a fitting, the better the fit might be, actually.
Very good. Daniel Winterbottom 5531. Hi gents, hi Daniel. Had a few lessons and improved path from 9 left and open face 2, left open face to left, but struggle with face. Any tips? What graphite iron shafts would you recommend? A slight lighter graphite alt to M130. I'm not really understanding what the end of that question is. What graphite iron shafts would you recommend as slight lighter graphite alternative to the M130?
Ultimately, I can name any number of shafts, but I can't guarantee it's going to do you any good whatsoever. Certainly face control balance point might be an element to it. It depends on what build spec. A lot of the time you see if someone's in a graphite, the swing weight can get very light, and that means you lose the connection to the club head. And actually just had a chap in earlier where he had a set of pings that had a graphite, an aftermarket shaft in, and literally put a 10-gram weight in the toe of it instead of a 6-gram, and he found strike. So it might not be shaft at all, it could just be the build. So I could say name any number of shafts on the wall, but they might be worse than what you have. So it's one that I'd rather not say, oh, this is a wonderful shaft, because actually I don't know what's going to suit you. And it's definitely better if you're struggling with face control, actually go somewhere where someone can have a look at you, look at the specs, diagnose what the actual issue is, because I just don't want you going down a route of thinking something would be an improvement and it ends up being more painful than not.
When I hear people say that they've improved their path, it always worries me, because if you've been working on path is always the symptom. If your face is open to your path by, say, 5 degrees, you will always have a path to the left to combat the fade you have to the right. So as soon as you now get your face close to your path, what will happen is your path will shift to the right, almost like switching a light switch on. So therefore, never work on path, always work on face to path, which is face. Don't work on path. So my advice to you would be, continue to work on your face to path value, because your path will react to that. Find out what's causing your face to be open. It is not, never has, never will be your path. Fix your face to the path. The path has never been the issue, never was the issue, never will be the issue. I promise you. Fix the face to the path, and all of your Christmases will come early. Hope that helps you. Simon Muggleton, 4688. Hi, Simon. Nice to have you with us again. Question to you both. If you had a slightly too high or low ball flight, would you try and alter that via equipment or technical improvements? And same question if spin was a little bit too high or low. I think, from my perspective, depends on the ability. If you're a good player, something like that, like a low handicap, something like that could be quite a deep journey of changing flight and spin rates. I think it's much easier to change that with equipment. Again, if you're talking about 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 revs, then that's a slightly different issue. But I would think 4,000, 5,000 revs you can find in equipment, right?
Well, that much you wouldn't. You definitely would be looking. If it's that much, you'd be looking at the split. If it's a matter of a few hundred revs, then yeah, equipment. Whether it's a loft change, a ball change, a head style change,
What about
you can
ball
do.
flight?
Well, thing is, launch angle is dictated by the loft of the club and someone's delivery. So it depends on where on the scale you are as to what the answer is here, because you might be able to fix a launch angle with the clubs, but then the spin goes through the roof or through the floor. So ultimately, it depends how you're getting there as to what answer I'm going to give you as a fitter.
And how far out you are, right?
Yeah.
And your ability. So there's a lot of ifs and ifs and ifs. So let us know what your ability is. Let us know how far out you're talking. And let us know potentially what sort of equipment you're using as well. Hopefully we can dissect it from there, Simon. Aim for the bushes. I love that handle. I love that handle. Hi, gents. Happy Monday to you. Possible to test, absolutely. The GT13 Tour versus the GT280 with a Diamana BB shaft. Thoughts on these as a viable option? I hit the driver well, but struggle with my ping fairway woods. Cheers, chaps.
Yeah. So GT280 is a 13 degree and the GT1 Tour is a 15 degree. It says 14.5, it's really 15.5. So, but the 280 is more of a 2-wood. So it'd be interesting to see a kind of flight. It will be a much lower flight, but I will grab a BB shaft and compare.
He loves doing the demos, loves it. He's been hitting about 60 or 70 balls before we even came on air. Sculptura retracted his comment. What could that have been, Sculptura? I hope you're going to repost. Michael Anderson, it suddenly jumped. Where did Michael? Oh, Michael Anderson played. While you're doing that, sorry, Michael Henderson. Sorry, didn't mean to call you Anderson. Henderson played Nippon Modus 105Rs in my T300s since being fitted with you 4 years ago. Now find the Modus 105 slightly too active, which is causing too much closure, but love the Nippon feel. Any advice?
So the closure is nothing to do with how the shaft flexes. So you will get some responsiveness out of the kind of the mid-upper section of the Modus 105, but that will not be shutting the face down. It may just be that actually you've just strengthened up, your timing's improved. It might require a little bit more head weight just to delay the hit slightly. It might mean that actually you need to go up a little bit of weight. So depending on if you're in the R, it could be that you go to the S, which is about 3 or 4 grams heavier, and just shores it up a little bit, and that kind of keeps the best of both worlds. But it won't be the flex making it go left, but it could be that you're now swinging it better, timing it stronger, and therefore need just to up the weight that little bit.
If you are new to a Monday Night Live, we do this at 6 p.m. Answer all of your questions. We've got the man behind the discs there. He's back from holiday. He does all the editing, does all the cameras. Simon and I answer your questions, and Barney, who's down here, usually falls asleep, but he's awake tonight. He seems a bit more interested in the
quizzical this evening,
yeah,
I would
he
say.
seems a bit more interested in the questions. So we've got a couple of clubs here that you're going to nicely demo.
I'm going to start with the GT1 Tour with weight forward, since it's got a little bit more loft to it.
Love that. Love a bit of weight
And we
forwards.
have a BB73 in this. So these
What's the 73 stand for, the weight?
Weight. So anything with a 70, 73, 75 is somewhere between 70 and 80. In this instance, it's down at 72, 73 grams. Very, very even balance, very stable tip. Yeah, nice shaft. So I'll start with this one, GT1 Tour. A little bit of a bigger footprint.
I like the satin look.
Tug that a little bit, but fairly strong performance. I've just got over the top of that. I'm just going to just hit one more. That's a bit of a shut the face down a bit too much to really judge ball flight on that. Oh, done it again. That's repeating. A little bit more launch on that. So I've got the heavyweight forward, so keep spin down. Picks it up nice and easily off the deck, even when you close the face 4 degrees. So quite a forgiving head. But with the Tour version, they need to get the loft down in order to get the spin down, but still launches pretty comfortably. Very, very comfortable fairway wood. Let me pop that onto the 280. So the left miss for me is happening mainly because in the woods I have to play a little bit more of a tip balance shaft than this, and therefore this is just letting me flip it over a little bit. I need something just to drop it in a bit more. So it's nothing to do with that. I don't play a markedly stiffer shaft than this, just a little bit heavier and a little bit more tip balanced. I've checked head weights and they're nigh on identical. It does come out a little bit longer in this head because it's bigger, and therefore will give me a bit more sensation for the bottom end. Obviously head-wise is notably bigger. It's a much deeper face.
Is that a 3-wood?
It's 2-wood. The mini, it's not a mini driver, but it falls into that kind of family. But for Titleist, it's very much a 2-wood in that it spins a little bit more than some of the others. It's designed to play off the deck as well. So they prioritise making it good off the bottom of the head.
Right. That's really got a big end on it, isn't it?
compared to, I mean, the GT1 isn't small, but yeah, this is noticeably that bit bigger. Got a little toe side, still picks it up pretty well, but
That was nice.
you know, it's potentially just a little bit more punch to it. The one thing with this off the ground, with it being that much deeper, is unless you're someone who gets into the bottom of the ball well, then if you tend to pick it a little bit more, then you're likely to see that. So I've kind of got slightly up on it, just to sort of make the point with this, is that you're catching it far below the center of gravity of the head. Whereas on the GT1, you see how much shallower that sits.
Do you remember
So you can get it up the face on this much more easily than
when Callaway
280.
brought out the Warbirds, didn't they?
Yeah.
And those super low profile, what
Yeah,
was
back then, yeah, the rounded soles,
super
yeah.
low profile, and we're all hitting drivers off the deck with the big Bertha.
yeah.
I mean, when you look at something like that now, it's like, oh my goodness.
It's not a million miles off the size of this, the bigger heads back then.
Yeah.
But low on the face. If you're someone who gets into the bottom, so I'm just going to hit down this a bit more. If you're someone who kind of traps it a little bit more, then you can hear in the contact, I'm going to drag it a bit, but you can hear in the contact much more solid. So if you're someone who squeezes it a bit more, then you're going to get the strike up the face more on the 280. But if you pick it, that's probably not a great head for you.
Yeah. Big head, fairway wood. Steer clear of that, friends. Well, no. I mean, it's going to work for someone for sure.
Yeah.
The Yorkshire Blade, TYB. Love your show. We haven't seen you. Where have you been, TYB? Can you tell us when all the embargoes finish?
Most of them are early January.
Can't tell you when the embargoes finish.
There's one for Swixon, which is 4th, 5th of December. And I think there's one in Cobra, which is kind of ending in December at some point as well, I think. But that actually might be January. Most are going to be kind of a week or so into the new year.
Lovely. Axel Nielsen 4231. Hi.
Good evening.
What iron would you recommend trying for the odd heel strike miss? Do you mean shank? Miss and maybe even a shaft. Currently play Swixon ZX7 with Nippon 105 X Flex. Swing speed is 93-ish with a 7-iron.
Okay, so shaft-wise, I'm not even going to go there because there isn't one that can, unless there's one that, if you're getting a heel strike because of a shaft, it's because it's either too heavy and dropping behind and then sending the club out towards the ball. But I couldn't say with any certainty whether something's going to improve that. Actually, if you're a heel striker, that's actually where less tech helps you. The more tungsten weight there is out in the toe, the more, I'll grab a head here briefly, then the more tungsten weight you get out here, then they're making the center of mass more toe side, more central on the head towards the toe. So they're prioritizing the toe side of a strike. Actually, the less tech you have and the less mass out on the toe side, like a blade, the sweet spot is slightly heel side. So actually, you may well find, especially with the speed you've got, where it's not necessarily loads of ball speed you're trying to get, that actually a head with less technology gives you a better contact because the sweet spot moves onto the inside of the head.
Very good. Have some of that. London 56-1. Good evening. What are Simon's thoughts on the PXG wedges with the adjustable weights for porting tightless irons? The tightless wedges for weights or porting tightless wedges?
Okay, so
that make sense?
Porting wedges, what that means is,
What does that mean? I've never heard that before.
Porting is where you take a drill and you drill holes in the back of the head there.
Okay.
Now, ultimately, you're only going to remove a couple of grams. And in a head that's 290 to 300 grams,
That's a lot of
doesn't make the blindest bit of difference other than making them very slightly lighter. In theory, you're raising the center of mass, but in practice, doing absolutely knacker all. And that's the most polite word I can use for it. It just looks quite fun, other than making them lighter. But if you've got to move a significant amount of weight around to tangibly change center of mass and what it does to strike point and you know, how the ball comes off the face. So unless you're moving, in my opinion, 20 to 30 grams, so 10% of the head weight, you're not going to significantly change how that head performs. So what do I think of them? I think it's a great marketing tool, but unless you're moving that kind of weight around, it's infinitesimal what you're doing to performance.
He goes on to say, what difference would going lighter with a wedge head do?
So really it's about timing and strike. So if the wedge head is too heavy, then it can kind of drop underneath, bottom out, and you'll find you kind of Barnes Wallace it, kind of bounce into the back of the ball, likely to chunk it. But getting consistent contact is going to be hard. So you're looking at head weights to prioritise the overall balance of the club and how the club timing-wise arrives at impact. Are you in control of the club head from a low point of view? A lot of wedges have got heavier over the last few years, and if you're going longer than standard, it is actually a bit of an issue in that there are very few that we can work with and not be, E0 or a half inch over standard. But yeah, going lighter is only about prioritising balance of the club and therefore head control and impact control.
Van House asks, hi guys, I currently play the Diamond BB in my driver and WB in a Mini. And they both feel good. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Both feel good. Is this strange having the WB in the shorter club when some would say the profile should be the other way around? What's the WB?
Whiteboard. So BB blue board, WB whiteboard. So different profiles. So the whiteboard has a stiffer tip and in theory is designed around lower spin, lower launch, and the BB, the blue board, is more moderate midsection, stable tip, so slightly higher flight profile. Actually, you might well find the whiteboard swings slightly more towards the bottom end, and actually in the shorter club, that could be why that suits it so well. It's certainly, it's not out of the ordinary to play them that way round, and ultimately, if it works for you, use it. You don't have to play a softer tip shaft in a fairway wood or a mini driver than you do a driver. Just play what works. They're both very stable, really good quality shafts, and if it's working for you, great stuff, great quality shafts.
Mark Rowley asks, fellas, I'm a chronic toe striker. Have to set up either out of the hosel, opposite to Simon, or have the handle touching my leg.
Make me vomit, I think.
Yeah. What would be causing this, and how much distance is lost striking the toe? Well, it's different for every club, of course, how much distance and how much you hit it off the toe. There are two causes for toe striking that are most prevalent. The first one is pulling your arms in, of course, because of course that is causing the arc to become much closer to you, the radius of the arc to be much closer to you. And the other one is lifting the grip and early extending through strike, which pulls the club head in. Find out what is causing either of those two. But to know why you're doing it, impossible to say. But in terms of distance, what would you say on average?
I mean, on something like on a sort of 6-7 iron, I mean, if you're catching it right out the toe, you could be dropping 20, 30 yards. I mean, okay, that's a quick case in point. So let's do, if I do one pretty much.
Shall I pull up the, let me pull up the strike.
You can pull up a strike point, yeah.
The strike point, and then people can see how far out the toe you're hitting it. There we go.
If you just, switch it on to
what club you got, 7 iron?
6
iron, perfect, there you go.
So hopefully I can find somewhat the
find that toe, baby. It's too much out the middle.
No, that's for a kind of.
Oh, right, got it. I was going to say.
So what you'll notice on that, this is to the point earlier about sweet spot. That says it's out the heel, which basically, if you were to map the club head, it is. But the sweet spot on this is out the heel, which is why it's a 142 efficiency, because it's a blade with no tech. So missing out the toe on this should be very noticeable. What it does. What was I? 87, 88. Okay, so if I catch this right out the toe.
Oh, nice. Lovely on a Sunday
horribly
morning.
Out the toe. So again, that is probably visually less out the toe than it would be on other club heads, but because of where the sweet spot is, I could feel that thing twist. And that's dropped, how much have we dropped? 20 yards.
Carry difference.
Yeah, 19 yards difference. So there are other heads, take something like the Titleist where they've got the high density tungsten in the toe. That will save a little bit of that because there's just a bit more momentum out the toe side. So they're great heads throughout the toe. Some of the pings as well. A lot of them have got tungsten masses in the toe end on the longer irons now. But it can be a pretty significant drop in ball speed and it feels horrible.
Good question. Good question. Sculptura, evening, ditched.
Still can't help thinking of He-Man.
ditched my long irons in favour of a 9-wood, dropped to a 23 degree. Longest irons is a 6 iron at 27. Do you think this is too big a gap, 27 to 23?
In loft terms, 4 degrees is perfectly viable. Ultimately, it depends what distance gap you're seeing. If you're moving the 9-wood really efficiently, then you might pick up disproportionate amount of speed and therefore pick up a disproportionate amount of distance. But with how high the 9-wood's likely to go, chances are that might kind of normalise it and end up, because it's going up into orbit and coming down and hopefully stopping dead for you. I'd expect you to have probably more like 20 yards gap, 15 to 20 yards gap for sure between those two though.
Very good.
If it gets more than that, then yeah, there's probably a little too much.
Mark Sweep, I'm hoping to come for a fitting next year. We look forward to seeing you. If the club head is suitable and the shaft is wrong, can you change the shaft and fit my current heads? Cheers.
100%. And great question. It's something that one of the things that we're very proud of here is that none of our fitters are on commission. So they're all salaried, put explicitly for this reason, is that we're here to tell you what works best for you. If your current club heads are good quality, the right style for you, work well and are in good enough condition to reuse, then that's still a great solution as a reshaft. It could be that your current clubs are actually spot on, they just need a regrip. But yeah, 100%. If they're relevant and they're working well for you and they've got life in them, absolutely we can do that for you.
I think outside of obviously the gazillion years of experience all the fitters have got, that's probably our shining light, isn't it? That the guys aren't told to sell, right? I mean, it's like whatever's going to be best for the golfer. That's something that we pride ourselves on.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not going to stand here and claim that selling clubs and building new sets isn't a major part of the business. It very clearly is. But the caveat to that is if it's suitable, if the data can back it up, or as long as the player knows there might not be an improvement in performance, but if someone knows that and it's an informed decision that it's just a new set of shiny toys, as long as they know that's the case and they're making a decision based on it being that, then great. But yeah, 100%. We are. Yes, we're here to sell golf clubs, but we're not here to oversell. We're here to advise someone of what the options are, and then it's up to the players to what they go ahead with. Yeah.
Very good indeed. Doug. Evening, Doug. Nice to have you with us. Question for Stu. How would you go about helping someone get more width in the backswing and how to reduce excessive wrist angle in the pull face? Well, more width in a backswing can actually encourage more narrowing in the way down. So what Doug is referring to, width, and again, you've got two areas of width. First of all, you've got the width of your hands from your body. When you start, the gap between my grip and my chest is one width, and the other width factor in a backswing is the distance the club head is away from my body. If I had no arm break or no set with my right arm, I could get my arms a long way away. If I had no wrist cock, you can see I'd get the club head a long way. But of course, in a backswing, you have wrist set, which narrows up the arm and also brings the golf club in. If you're trying to get wider in the backswing, if you're trying to make your arms wider, get yourself a TheraBand or even get yourself a bag towel. Have you got a bag towel on your golf bag? No, you haven't?
No, because it got filthy last time, so it was in the wash.
If you get a bag towel, hold it in one end and grip it in the other. We'll see if we've got something. Here we go. I'll show you a little drill to give you some width in your backswing. There we go. Boom! So here we are. So you get yourself a bag towel.
It's almost like it was at Twickenham on Sunday.
Yeah.
Didn't pass.
So grip it in your trail hand, put the lead hand up into your sternum, and then make some back swings where you keep the bag towel taut. You can see I've still got some flexion in my right arm, but what can often happen is that right arm gets a little bit narrow, which comes from something else, might be too short in your hip turn or your chest turn. So you want to keep that torsion or that bag tail taut. So that's one way of getting more width on the way back. And then, of course, if you're trying to get a bit wider on the way down, you can then feel the bag towel a little bit looser on the way back and then feel like you're going to tighten it up on the way down. And that's the feel that you want to have to create more width on the way down. If you're talking about wrist set in a backswing and a downswing, if you're looking to create a bit of a wider club head, then you want to feel like you're getting a bit more pressure out with your hand, your trail hand in the backswing. But really, if you control the width and radius of the grip, that usually will sort out what's going on the way down in terms of how much download or downcocking you have in your downswing. But if you create more width in your backswing, be prepared to become a bit more narrow on the way down. You can't have wide. If you had a wide backswing, a wide downswing, you'd have no power. So power has to come from somewhere. So just be cautious of that, Doug.
Why was Davis Love looking like he had very wide arc to his swing?
But loads of speed because he had loads of download as well. Yeah, loads of download. Hang on. Oh, we go. Daniel Winterbottom, thank you for your help. You're welcome. Stuart, the root cause was coming over the top, then early extension. Now over the top has significantly reduced, but still early extending nonetheless. So over the top is the ingredient that is helping you stop hitting the ball right. If you didn't come over the top with an open face to path, you would hit it even further right. And I bet, even though that you've got your path straighter, I bet you still, on occasion, hit it an enormous amount of distance to the right when you are not trying to release the club. Be careful. Over the top is simply a club head issue, not a grip issue. Because people see, we're on this topic because I think it's really quite interesting. Everybody believes that over the top is the devil's work. Well, of course, if I have a ball that's fading to the right, okay, so my ball has slice out to the right. If I then created the same face to path value, so I've got a path line, hopefully James is doing his usual fantastic work, with the path is 9.8 degrees to the left and a face open at 8.7. I'm now going to make the face open. I'm not going to too crazy, but I'm going to make the face open to the path, and I'm going to now change my path line from the inside. So I'm going to make my path line from the inside, and I'm going to have the face open to the path. Now all of a sudden, TrackMan didn't get it. Let's just have another little go. Yeah. But you can see where this is going to go, because when I come from the inside, it doesn't like it when it's too much. So there we go. Perfect. That's why I didn't really want to do it. But it was exactly the same amount of open face to path as the last one, but I had a path line from the inside. Look how far right that ball's gone. So if you do not fix your face to path value, you will never swing from the inside, because you will be killing people, almost like I just nearly killed Simon and Barney. So when you fix the face to path, your face will always try and come more from the inside. And when you think about the golf swing as a circle, if I take the golf ball from down underneath me to up in front of me, the only thing that's going to change here is when I swing the golf club back on that plane, I then have arm lift. So there's my arm lift. So I now come up, so everything stayed the same. The shaft to my spine has stayed the same here. I'm not going to have any arm lift at all. So there's my backswing. There's the arm lift that I would have if I was down on this angle. So I've not created any arm lift. On the way down, look how my right shoulder must move forwards. What you're suggesting is that that right shoulder and that grip mustn't move forwards. Shoulder must stay back and the club should drop down here and swing over there. Well, that's not how you move around a golf ball. So the over the top is always seen as the right shoulder coming forwards and the grip coming forwards. They have to move forwards because that's how you would unravel in a circular direction. The bit that you're talking about is the club head coming over the top. Well, that club head coming over the top, where's that face pointing? That face is now pointing left because your ball wants to slice right. So this over the top move is absolutely helping you not hit the shot that I've just hit because your face is open to the path. So fix your face to path and you'll never think about coming over the top of it again. Sorry, I nearly got you on that.
No, poker face down there. Barney didn't even move.
It didn't even flinch.
Watched it go by.
So it's really, really, and it's it's still so prevalent in coaching that people are trying to change path lines, and it's so not the error. So not the error. I'm so passionate about that. Hopefully you can see it. Pro V1 David, great handle that. Hi guys, great show. Where do you stand on speed training? Thinking of the stack system for off-season training. We've talked about this many occasions. Make sure that you're fit and healthy. Don't go into winter training swinging like a lunatic and hurting yourself, because there is as much pain brought on by speed training as there is benefits. So just go steady, and if you are doing that, seek counsel from your golf coach as well, because how you're recruiting speed could be with your arms, could be with your legs, could be with your middle. It really, really important. So you stress the envelope, be prepared to have a crash, be prepared for things to not start working as well. So just go steady with it. Whatever system you use, they're all pretty effective if you go like a lunatic, swinging a million miles an hour, or what it feels like for a repeated amount of time. But just go steady. Don't get injured in the off season, and then when April comes around and you smell grass being cut and this Masters is on, and just to gain 6, 7, 8 miles an hour and you can't play. So just go steady. That would be my advice on that one. Daniel Winterbottom. Simon, regarding the graphite alternative to the Modus 130, I was just wondering if there was options in graphite. I have a thought that I may require different sand wedge or swing weight, or overall weight, but like profile.
I mean, Modus 130s are 125 grams, so they're at the upper end of the scale. There are an awful lot of graphite shafts that are going to be lighter, an awful lot of steel shafts that are lighter than that. So if you're, the Modus 130s don't, relative to weight, make the club swing that heavy. They're not a particularly tip balanced, not like the Modus 120s. They're more like the 115s where they're kind of mid-upper balance. So actually they don't make the club swing that heavy relative to weight, but you can, there are plenty of shafts you can drop weight to get some swing weight down. You could go into something like a KBS Tour 120. You're still dropping kind of 5 or 6 grams out of it, but it's bringing the swing weight up a little bit. There is so far you can go down in weight from there, that, I mean, if you wanted to drop, you could drop 15 grams out and go to a steel fiber 110, still structurally really stable, but is going to swing lighter for dead weight and will drop the swing weight as well. But it's such a broad spectrum, it's actually quite hard to pick how far to go. If you're in something like a Modus 105, that would almost be easier because there's less, you've only got 40 grams, 50 grams to go, rather than from 130, you've got about 80 grams that you can drop. So, but you're going to still need some kind of stability there. So, but yeah, again, it's a needle in a haystack thing. There are an awful lot of steel shafts that could work as well as graphite for that.
Lots of questions coming in. We do this until 7 p.m. So do get those questions in. Another 18 minutes to go. We'd love to answer all of them. So feel free to keep them coming. Jason Wen made me chuckle. I said Jason Wen last week, and it's Jason Owen. I remember. Yeah. Jason Owen. Why do different brands sell different specs and models in different countries, i.e. Asia? Watched a guy in Singapore in a golf shop, and some of the models you can't buy here. Great show.
So ultimately it's about what, so if you take Asia specifically, you've got a market which, up until the trend is that it's a different sort of style of swing. It's a physically less aggressive move. So they tend to get, from a shaft point of view, you're going to get softer profiles, lighter weights. Has always been kind of Asia spec as a lighter setup, a little bit more loft to get more ball flight. But there's also, financially a different market there. A lot of golf in Asia is high end, and they will go there with product from a price point of view that just won't be done over here. So you get things like the cold forged Vokeys that you can't get over here. Some of the specs you can get out of there are unbelievable, and they'll go there with sort of more tungsten, more higher cost materials because they can sell them there, and they're less likely to over here. So there are plenty of reasons why that traditionally, historically, there've been bigger differentials. I think we'll see that soften off a little bit, but primarily different locations will pay different amounts for products and have different requirements from a flight profile as well. So that's why you see different models.
The classic was always the Mizuno catalogue, wasn't it? When people bring the Mizuno, the content in there is just like the products were just off the hook.
And they're a huge amount that, whether it's sort of head-only niche kind of forged products, some really kind of high-end sort of £1,000 dollar driver heads just on their own that are available that are actually illegal. So that you often get some over-limit driver faces because, like in Japan, an awful lot of Tokyo golfers only play at driving ranges. So they don't care whether it's legal or not, they just want to go as far as possible. So yeah, it's just different markets have different demands.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Great question as well. Norwegian Warhound. Great to hear from you. First off, lovely to see you guys. Well, it's lovely to hear from you too. Was curious your thoughts on the T250 launch spec. Currently in the G440 and the AOD is lacking angle of descent. Yeah. Have always liked a neater head and loft. Happy holidays to you both.
And happy Thanksgiving coming up for our American viewers. So the launch spec are weaker lofts. They're actually one groove less on the heads. They're slightly shallower head profile as well, but they are lighter. So depending on what spec you play, the standard weight head is 6 grams lighter than the standard weight of the T250 kind of normal head. So that can be something that can get away with the builds, but yeah, they're it's a 31-degree 6-iron, and it does hit it higher, does spin it more, but the head weights are the only thing that could be prohibitive.
Paul M. Hi Simon, thoughts on the Cobra Max K driver, please. How does it compare to the Ping 10K? Cheers, Paul.
The Cobra, that's a really underrated head this year. We've had some really consistent, really good results from it. I think it's probably the best of their heads this year, closely followed by the LS. But I think it's one that's slipped a little bit under the radar this year. The Ping 10K, really solid. If anything, a little bit lower launching the 430 10K, but really stable head and actually a great value product. But the consistency-wise, we've had some great results with it.
Christopher, what's fitted Ping I240 with the Alta CB regular, but flight is too high and losing distance against comparable iron numbers in old T100s with a steel fibre I80 shaft. Should I look to change out the shafts?
Highly likely. So the Alta CB's 10 odd grams lighter, 10 to 15 grams lighter, and is a slightly higher balance point as well, is a softer tip. The steel fibres are structurally a very, very stable shaft to weight. The tip's very stable and will swing heavier. I think it's worth checking what the swing weights are on the two sets, see how they compare dead weight and swing weights. I240 is a really good head. And we've had some really good results with it. It isn't the lowest spin head in the world, but equally speaking, make sure, just double check loft specs as well. But yes, going something with a little more guts to it sounds like that is a good way forward.
Very good. Aim for the bushes. Cheers, gents, for the GT1 versus the 280 answer. Ordered the 280 just now as I'm a squeezer of the ball. If time allows, Stuart, any basics we should all be doing to hit 3 woods better? As always, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think if we all practice 3 woods off of a high tee and gradually lowered the tee down so that we started to get a bit more comfortable with seeing it not teed up, I think you would, because when you get the ball teed up, often, and you've got the ball in your 3 wood position off the fairway, you can get a nice amount of downstrike. But again, when you start hitting a 3 wood down, it knocks the flight down. Then as you lower the tee, you then start to think about trying to keep the flight, swing the head and get a bit of launch. So measure out the tee height, play with high tee and low tee, and just get a sense of the difference that you feel from a high tee to a super low tee, which is obviously how you play it off the fairway. Once you start to feel more at home with the differences in your swing and how it feels, then you'll be better on the low tee and off the ground, because it's super easy to hit a 3 wood off of a tee, isn't it? But then when you get on the ground and you've got to pinch it, that's where you start to knock the flight out. If you can keep the feeling of it being swept off the high tee on the lower tee, now all of a sudden you'll be able to keep the flight. Whereas when you're hitting your 7-iron and then the next time you're sort of hitting a 3 wood off the ground and you create that same strike down, that's where you get the flight out the sky and you might cut it away to the right. So modulate, do a practice session where you get the ball teed up high and then you go all the way down to low, and try and keep that same feel between the two, and that should give you some help with that flight with your 3-wood.
One other side to that, and this goes back to a question earlier about is it the player or is it the club? We're doing far fewer 3-woods than we ever used to. So if you're playing a 3-wood and you can't get it airborne, then maybe you've got the wrong loft. And don't think of the first club after the driver having to be a 3-wood. Ultimately, it's just whatever loft suits. We generally see 5 degrees of actual loft, measured loft between driver and first fairway. If you're playing a 10.5, 11, 12 degree driver head, then your club measures more like 11 to 13 degrees. So therefore you should be in something from sort of 16 to 18 degrees loft, not 15. So actually, if you're, the worst thing you can do is try and help it in the air. This is where there are so many tools out there now. Use the tools at hand to give you a flight that's a balance of launch and spin that you, if you've got to try to get it in the air, you're probably in the wrong loft.
Yeah, and we're really starting to migrate, aren't we, into forget the number on the bottom.
Yeah.
Just forget it. Just whatever takes off and optimizes your. It goes back to we only encourage people to move forwards with equipment if it's better for them, or they've got a hankering to get some different clubs. Optimize it. Who cares whether it's a 7-wood? If you're 7-wood,
if a 7-wood gives you 3-wood launch and spin, or the best balance of launch and spin for the first club back from driver, i.e. anything double-digit launch, but low 3s in spin, that's your first fairway wood, or that's your first club back from driver.
Yeah.
And if you add loads of loft and got to use a 13 degree to get the same numbers to bring it down, then that's your first club. But it doesn't matter what it says on the bottom of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Andrew Hommant, looking to book a putter fit with you ASAP. How does your custom fit process work with the putter? Will it be constructed similarly when you do our irons, such as shaft, head, grip, etc.?
Yep. So actually, just had finally got a putter specialist in. So Matt Williams, who's started with us a few weeks back, who's doing some the putter fitting and coaching now as well. But ultimately, it's very similar to down here. We use the Quintix system upstairs, which gives us ball roll data, can look at face angle at address, can look at the path numbers, can look at strike point. It can diagnose the dynamics into the back of the ball, and we can look at how's your current putter set up, what sort of loft, how you're flighting it, and then through diagnosing head style, alignment, we can isolate. We still got an interchangeable system with different head styles, hosel styles, shaft lengths, grip types. We can dial into what is making a tangible difference to your putting and why. So yeah, very similar to down here, but just with the flat stick and the ball running along the ground rather than up in the air and backspin.
And if you want to check out Matthew's Instagram page, he does a lot of content on there, so you get some insights into the studio upstairs as well. very, very proactive on there, and a super good player too. Jasper, Simon, do you see any benefit in using a gap wedge from a Srixon ZX1 set over a specialist wedge, if primarily for pitching and fuller shots?
So I think the there's a word I was trying to use, but it's gone completely blank. A differentiation I would say is that an out of set wedge, generally speaking, is a specialist wedge is designed more for your some spin control, the grooves, the face pattern's different, whereas a set wedge is designed more for kind of stand and deliver, kind of a little bit more, in theory, kind of full shot consistency. So that's normally the distinction we make. I would generally be pointing someone who plays sort of feely shots, 3/4 shots, flights them, is looking for maximum spin control to go out of set wedge. And if you're someone who just wants a club to just plonk it on the green with a stock swing, then the set gap wedge is often a good way to go.
Adam and the Ants, stand and deliver?
Stand and deliver. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, he's singing over the Christmas period. He will let you know where he's playing and singing. Yes.
I might go horse.
Yeah. Tiger Tim 9232 Tensei 1K black shaft. What are aftermarket more expensive, slightly smoother feeling equivalents?
Okay, smoother feeling. So, I would say the VF. Toy DVF, but is that smoother feeling? It's still very stout. You could probably say whiteboard as well. Tensei Pro 1K Pro White, or the Diamana whiteboard. I mean, any of those sort of profiles may not necessarily be the smoothest feeling shafts because they're structurally very, very stable. But the Tensei Black is a pretty kind of dead beast. I would say also, if you want a really smooth feel, actually there's Aratera, the EC1 Grey. That's a very smooth feeling shaft. That's a lower spinning shaft as well. It's a little bit kind of left field. Some people may never have heard of that. Or TPT Red Range Low Series is another one that would definitely give you a little bit more smoothness.
Very good.
But you will pay a lot for those.
Yes.
Because low spin and smooth means high grade materials. So
yeah.
Get some cash for Christmas.
Yeah, that's it. At Mr. Tightless. I mean, that's a hell of a handle, that. At Mr.
I know
Tightless.
what clubs he likes.
Yeah. Evening, gents. Evening, Mr. Tightless. Recently have you emailed Tightless and said you've got that handle? Because I'm sure they would want that. Evening, gents. Recently started pulling irons left. Any tips to work on or would be appreciated. A great tip for pulling irons is check out ball position. If you knock your ball position back 1 roll or 2 rolls with the clubs that you're pulling, and that fixes it, great. Practice hitting half shots with a super light grip and hitting them hard, because that will help you load the shaft a little bit more in the downswing, which should, again, fix a bit of a pull, because a pull ultimately is a path and face looking left. Well, if you've got an angle of attack that's too light, it means that the club head has swung too much, which has pointed the face and the path to the left. But usually you see more pulls going on with shorter irons. You tend to see someone that pulls a short iron, then end up fading and slicing the longer clubs. So give those 2 things a try, drop the ball back a hair and do some practice swings with half a backswing, super, super light grip, and pull on the club hard. You'll feel the club load and it will start to increase your angle of attack a little bit, which will start to offset the pull. But really, that's going to then encourage a bit of a fade, but will certainly get you out of the left-hand bushes.
Check your lies out as well.
Yeah, there you go. That's another good one. Richard Skinner. Great show, guys.
Thank you very much.
We are super pleased you like it, Richard. Simon, have you seen the Callaway Quantum driver? Has he seen the Callaway Quantum driver? Has he? Of course he has. Do you anticipate any real performance gains? He can't say anything because he's got an embargo.
I guess it depends on over what. And the answer would be yes, but it depends over what. Yes, I have seen them.
Have you hit them?
Some of them, not all of them. They'd have all of them to hand.
He's a lucky man.
But yes, I have seen and hit them. Can I say anything about them?
No.
No.
Can you imagine the amount of people that sit at home that are all golf perverts like we all are, that love this game, that would love to be in your position to have this opportunity to try? I mean, it's like you go on YouTube and you see these people sort of driving like new cars that haven't been released yet. You're that guy.
Yeah. It's
How
a
lucky
terrible
you are.
burden
I
to
can
bear.
see it weighs you so
Knowing
heavy.
all this new product and not being able to talk about
I know.
it. Not being able to tell people who really want to know
Doesn't
what it actually does.
dine out on it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough
it's fun
gig.
though.
Tough
Yeah.
gig. Did we get to the bottom?
I will say, initial feeling was positive.
Brilliant. Prince
Nassim?
Prince Tunlow 2272. Can you describe the Fujikura Pro Black shaft for fairway wood? I have never heard of this shaft, but it's perfect for my swing. I've never heard of this shaft, but it's perfect for my swing.
Yeah, so,
what are some shafts similar to it with the Fuji Pro Black?
So the Pro Black, the Pro series is a fantastic series. It's their kind of mid-range. It's got good grade material, but sits at a relatively reasonable price point, but has always been an incredibly successful line for them. The Pro Black sits kind of low 60s, low 70s in terms of weight, balance point a little down the bottom half, stable tip designed for a little bit of a lower spin, but it's got some stability, but a little bit of feedback as well. It sits in a lovely place for a marginally stronger flighted fairway shaft. You'd be needing to look at below 75 grams to match up for another shaft. I would say, let me think. It's interesting, getting into that weight window, there aren't that many. Most tend to sit upper 70s. Actually, the Ventus Red now weighs more. Otherwise, that would have been dissimilar, albeit a slightly softer tip.
It's Christmas soon. You'll have this answer question.
I would have said actually the TZ 570 the last series would have been a very good match for it, but that's just been discontinued. So, but look, the Fuji Pro Black, fantastic shaft.
Are you done?
Well, you went on long enough on the over the top bit, so I thought I'd get my 2 pence worth.
You're done. I answer about 3 questions to your 50. Daniel Winterbottom, thanks for that, Stuart. I've definitely got the blocks going occasionally. I will definitely work on the face to path. Good man. By the way, this week is probably the last week that I won't be wearing glasses because I'm going blind, as literally. Prince Tonolo 2272. In terms of stiffness profile, I'll keep this one short. How would you compare the original Velocore to TR and Velocore Plus? Which one plays stiffer?
TR probably plays slightly stiffer because it's got the stiffer handle section, but I think the first gen felt stiffer than the current ones for sure. And actually, Tensei Pro White 72 would be the alternative to the Pro Black.
That was very good. Gents, I sliced the driver, but this is the last question for the night. But none of the other clubs, including woods, irons, etc. How important is equipment in helping me stop slicing the driver? I'm on my 3rd driver in 12 months with no change.
Very important. So if you're not slicing anything else, then it's massively important because you're clearly not doing anything that wrong with the swing. It might just be that the ones you've got are too long, too heavy. But yeah, definitely fixable. But probably the ones that you've got are probably too long.
Well, for more thorough answers next week, we will be here at 6 p.m. So too will James, Simon, Barney and I. Hopefully you are enjoying our lives. They are here every week, 6 p.m. We've got loads of content on the Precision Golf YouTube channel and on the Good Golf Coaching channel too. You have a great week. Loads more coming this way and we'll see you all very soon.